Hey, from Germany. We are here visiting family, and it feels so good being in Deutschland. So, today, what I wanted to jump on here and talk about was how to let go of comparison and getting triggered by other people's successes and wins. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because it's been like a hot topic today in our group coaching call. There were a few women who were feeling fears of comparison, getting triggered by feeling jealous by other people's successes. And so I thought, okay, this is a juicy topic to do a live on today. So, in particular, what I'm talking about, or what was particularly resonating with the women today, was getting triggered by seeing other people's successes in their career and getting triggered in their relationship, in their love life, by feeling themselves single and lonely and seeing other people in a relationship. And that was triggering these women to feel jealous, to feel insecure. So today, this can apply to your situation, whether it's getting triggered in your career or in your relationship, or maybe even another area of your life. The tools that I'm going to be talking about today can apply to any of those situations to help you really start to let go of that comparison and start to do that inner work so you're no longer getting triggered by situations in your life, can be more at ease, more at peace. So I'm going to be talking about 4 levels of letting go of comparison. And so we're going to start with like the most basic level. Most basic level is actually the mental level. So it's what's going on in your mind, what stories you are telling yourself, which are causing you to go into that downward spiral of feeling like everyone else is doing better than you or you're not good enough. So ultimately, what is happening on the mental level, you get caught up in these comparison stories. And there is a part of your mind which is actually fueled by fear. It is known as the inner critic, and which is ultimately criticizing you, telling you that you are not good enough, you're not doing good enough, and that other people are doing better than you. So that is it at the mental level. We have these mental stories that you need to start catching and transmuting in order to set yourself free on that mental level. So, how you do this is processes to really master that inner critic, that negative self talk. So, one thing you can start doing is start disassociating from these negative stories that are in your mind. So, you need to start realizing that when you are getting triggered and when there's this whole story about you not being good enough and someone else is doing better than you, then you need to realize that, okay, this is most likely just a story of the inner critic. It's a story of fear. And in your core, in your heart, you are not fear. So this is ultimately disconnecting you from your truth. When you are allowing these stories of fear and the inner critic to run wild in your mind, you are getting further and further away from your inner power, from your inner truth, and from this deep sense of self-confidence. Like you're moving further away from your authentic self. So you need to start cultivating a more aware mind to catch these thoughts as they are coming in. And this requires like a deep level of presence where you're showing up in your life, like really catching the thoughts as they come and allowing yourself to transmute them into a more empowering mindset. And I'm going to talk about more about that on the level 4, how we can transmute these negative stories into something more empowering. So the next level that we want to go into is the emotional level. So in the call today, in our group call with our beautiful clients, they were confessing that, they were feeling jealous by, one lady was saying she felt jealous by her friend, a friend's success because she saw her friend was getting further ahead, like much quicker and easier than she had done. She felt like she had this jealousy that she had to work so hard to get to where she was. And she actually felt like so ashamed about this jealousy because actually she wanted to be really happy for her friend, but instead she was feeling jealous, she was feeling insecure in herself and feeling like shameful over all of these feelings. So it creates this really gnarly, like inner conflict. So we want to deal with it at that emotional level and recognize that for sure, like there is a part of you that is clearly wounded, that is getting emotionally triggered by these situations in your life, by seeing other people happy or seeing other people's wins. So we don't want to try and suppress that negative emotion, that wounded part of you, because it creates that inner conflict. So we need to instead allow yourself to transmute like this negative emotion, whether it's jealousy, fear, guilt, shame, and all of these can be appearing all at once. It can be very intense to kind of sit through and process. But that's ultimately what we need to do. You need to actually lean into those really uncomfortable feelings, like give that part of you that is feeling that negativity space for it to fully be felt and processed, because that is how ultimately these negative emotions can be let go. Like, it has to be fully felt, processed, and then naturally, intuitively, it can be released and let go of. So that's the emotional level. Going a bit deeper now, the heart-centered level, as I like to call it. So oftentimes people get caught up in these patterns of comparison and not feeling good enough and looking outside of them when they are unclear and uncertain in who they are and what authentic success looks like to them. So, what happens is when you have ultimate clarity in who you are and confidence in who you are and what success looks like to you, you no longer end up looking outside of yourself and feeling unworthy, because you're feeling empowered that you have chosen success on your terms. So, you want to really do that self discovery to empower you to stand in your like power, your pillar of authentic success. And then the outside noise, the outside comparisons, they start to fall away because you're more confident in yourself. Because this loop of comparison is ultimately just a pattern of insecurity in yourself. If you don't know who you are, if you're not feeling good on your path or what you have chosen, and it's unclear for you, then of course, like, that's going to be breeding this inner fear and insecurity. So, getting that clarity, allowing yourself to do that self discovery and to do that life visioning and getting clarity on your goals, on what life balance and success means to you, that is so liberating and freeing, because then you can stand in your power and be confident and think, yes, like, this is my life on my terms. I don't need to compare it to anyone else. So, for example, with the ladies in our group this morning, the lady who was comparing success of a friend in her own life, like when we looked at her own life, we realized that she had a very full life. She has family. She's already achieved a great deal of career success. It doesn't matter how long it took her to get there. And it doesn't matter that her friend is also progressing at a very fast pace, because ultimately what matters in her life is that she feels very full. She has, created her own version of success. And maybe there's a gap. Maybe there's still a desire for her to achieve more. And that's completely okay. We don't want to rest in this feeling of unworthiness or unfulfillment. Instead, we want to recognize that gap and use that as a fuel to allow you to reach to the next level. Because ultimately, wasting time and energy on comparison and not feeling good enough and feeling unworthy, that is a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of energy. It's going to be depleting you. So let's come back into being more heart-centered, being more confident by having that clarity on where it is that you're going. And so then this takes me to the fourth level, the level which I like to call resourcefulness. It's your resourcefulness level. And this ultimately is your ability to transmute like these negative energies, these negative thoughts, these negative emotions or stories from the past into something much more resourceful, something much more useful. So, for example, with all of that time and energy that you're using, like worrying and getting stuck in your head, comparing yourself to other people, all of that time and energy that you're spending worrying and being anxious and feeling unfulfilled, you can actually start to spin that and use that into creating something that does actually serve you instead. So, for example, instead of feeling like you're not good enough by seeing someone else doing something that you want to do, instead of criticizing that person or judging them or feeling unworthy within yourself, what about if you created a sense of gratitude? I'm so grateful that you are showing me what is possible in life, because then you're leading by an example, and I'm going to maybe use that as inspiration. And you can even use this resourcefulness to even collaborate. Imagine if you're not spending your time criticizing and getting judgmental and being afraid and feeling not good enough. Imagine if you use that energy for inspiration and collaboration. Think about how much more you can get done. So it's so empowering and inspiring, like really seeing these women like really step into their full potential when they realize that, all of this negativity, all of these stories in their mind or negative feelings and doubts about who they are and doubts about the next steps in their journey in their life, like all of that wasted time and energy can then be transmuted into something so much more energizing and empowering. So those are ultimately the four levels of getting yourself out of comparison. So we need to do it at the mental level, the emotional level, the heart-centered level, really cultivating inner confidence, inner self-love and peace to just do things on your terms. And fourthly, the level of resourcefulness, like being able to transmute anything that isn't serving you into something which does bring you closer to your personal goals and into alignment with your version of authentic success. So I hope these 4 levels, discovering these and going deep into these today was helpful for you. And I hope you take this away. Obviously, it's not something that you switch in one instant. Like what I'm talking about today is deeper inner self-work, and it's ultimately a journey of getting closer into self-love and confidence. And so when you ultimately make this shift, oh my goodness, life becomes so much freer because you can be more present. You're no longer like getting stuck in your head and worrying about what other people are doing. Instead, you have permission to live life on your terms. And that sense of fulfillment and success is so liberating, so fulfilling. And I really hope that you can cultivate that for yourself as well. So if you find today's session, little live chat, juicy and you want to dive deeper, I have for you in my bios, whichever social media platform you're on, there is a link in my bio to a masterclass, which goes much deeper into these inner transformations which you can make. So really excited for you to dive into that. I can see here on Instagram, there's some people here waving. Hi, Rob. Hi, Zara. Beautiful to see you today. So yeah, hoping you're both well and sending you lots of love. And yeah, I'll see you soon on my next live from Germany. Or yeah, if I get to do a live tomorrow or Thursday, then I'll be in Germany. Otherwise, I'll be coming to you from Croatia. Okay, lots of love and see you soon. And yes, Sarah, I'll check my messages. Thanks for that. Okay, bye-bye. Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, ciao, all of the German goodbyes. Bye-bye.